Today, we explore the profound truth of living in the end, a truth that has echoed through the ages and yet is often misunderstood. We hear it in Scripture, whispered in ancient teachings, and affirmed in the modern world of self-help. With God, all things are possible. But too often, we separate ourselves from this promise. We place God outside of ourselves, as if possibility belongs only to a distant power. The secret is this: God became man, so that man may awaken to God. We are not apart from the creative source. We are its expression. The real journey of manifestation begins not with asking for things, not with begging heaven for blessings, but with realizing that we are consciousness itself, the infinite awareness that chooses, imagines, and brings forth. Every desire is a whisper from this deeper self, a reminder of what is already possible. But how often do we fall into the trap of how? How will this happen? What do I need to do? What technique will finally unlock my dream? The moment we ask how, we step away from the truth. How belongs to the realm of separation. Who belongs to the realm of creation. Manifestation is not about figuring out a path. It is about deciding who I am and living from that identity until the outer world conforms. Picture a pyramid. At the wide base are the tools and techniques we know so well. Affirmations, visualizations, meditations, journaling. They are helpful, but they are not the summit. They are meant to point us higher. As we ascend, we reach clarity of thought and persistence of belief. And at the very top of the pyramid lies the true key: knowing, not hoping, not wishing, not testing, simply knowing. When you know, you no longer ask, will it work? When you know, you no longer beg, please let it happen. You live as though it already is. You embody the end. That is why it is called living in the end. The pyramid is not a rejection of techniques, but a reminder of their purpose, to bring us into the state of knowing. Without that, they are empty rituals. Think of a seed planted in soil. You do not stand over it, demanding to know how it will sprout. You do not pull it up every morning to check whether roots are forming. You know the law of life. You know that in time, the seed becomes the plant. Manifestation follows the same law. If you truly know who you are, you rest in that knowing, and the fruits inevitably appear. But here is the challenge. We are creatures of habit. Old states of mind linger like ghosts. Circumstances shout their false evidence at us. We affirm abundance, yet bills pile up. We visualize love, yet loneliness presses in. These contradictions are not proof of failure. They are simply echoes of past assumptions, what I call factory backorders. They are the lingering shipments of an old state of being. If you persist, if you hold your new identity with gentle steadiness, the old shipments dry up and the new ones flow. Imagine this clearly. If you have chosen the state of wealth, then even when lack shows its face, you respond not with fear, but with quiet remembrance. I am wealth. If you have chosen the state of love, then even when loneliness knocks, you say to yourself, I am loved. I am love itself. This is not denial of circumstances, it is mastery of them. You are not ignoring reality, you are choosing the higher reality, and reality must conform. Here lies the greatest misunderstanding of manifestation. People believe it is about controlling thoughts or forcing feelings. They believe one must perfectly visualize every detail or recite endless affirmations. But consciousness does not demand perfection. It asks only for persistence in identity. If you fall, you rise again. If doubt whispers, you return to knowing. Day after day, you clothe yourself in the end, until it feels more natural than the old self. That is the rebirth of spirit. You are not your labels. You are not your fonts. You are not even your emotions. All of these are garments worn by the deeper self. Beneath them, you are awareness. Pure, open, infinite awareness. The observer that never changes. When you identify with the labels, poor, lonely, anxious, undeserving, you shrink your infinite being into a mask. But when you strip away the mask, you remember. You are consciousness itself, and consciousness is limitless. Pause with me here. Close your eyes for a moment and simply notice. Who is noticing your thoughts? Who is observing your body? Who is hearing these words? That silent witness, that clear space of awareness, that is you. That is the I am. And from that ground of being, you may choose any identity you desire. Do you see the beauty of this? You are not stuck. You are not trapped in past patterns. You are not defined by circumstances. You are free to say, I am new. I am changed. I am whole. I am abundant. I am love. And the universe, being a mirror, will echo that choice back to you. But here is where courage is required. For a time, the mirror still shows the old reflection. You declare, I am abundant, yet the bank account shows lack. You declare, I am loved, yet the room remains empty. The weak soul gives up, saying, it doesn't work. The wise soul persists, saying, it is already done. And in time, the mirror shifts, not by magic, but by law. Consider the story of the sculptor. He looks at a block of marble and sees nothing but stone. Yet in his mind's eye, he knows the statue already exists. With each strike of the chisel, he does not hope the statue will appear. He knows it is there, waiting to be revealed. Your identity works the same way. You are chiseling away the old assumptions, revealing the truth that was always present. So what does it mean to live in the end? It means this: to choose today who you are, and to live as though it is already real. To stop asking how, and to rest in the knowing of who. To persist gently, joyfully, courageously, until the echo of reality agrees. That is the secret that every technique points to, the summit of the pyramid. And so, if you ask me the greatest manifestation technique, it is this: do not chase, do not beg, do not struggle. Simply decide who you are, embody it, and live in that end. There is a quiet strength in this path. It is not the frantic energy of striving, nor the desperate plea of begging. It is the calm authority of one who knows. When a king gives a decree, he does not wonder whether his words have power. He does not plead with his subjects to obey. He speaks, and the realm responds. In the same way, when you know who you are in consciousness, your world reshapes itself to mirror that decree. This is why Scripture says, "Be still and know that I am God." Notice the order of the words. It does not say, "Struggle and hope that I am God." It does not say, "Do more techniques to prove that I am God." It says, "Be still, rest, trust, dwell in quiet certainty." The creative act is not forceful. It is stillness and knowing. But how do we remain still when circumstances scream the opposite? How do we hold to our new identity when the evidence of the senses denies it? The answer lies in trust. Trust in the unseen. Trust in the eternal law. Trust in the power of awareness itself. Think of the farmer again. When he plants a seed, he does not panic when the soil looks unchanged the next morning. He does not dig it up every hour to check for growth. He trusts the process. And so it is with the seed of identity. If you have declared, "I am abundant," then abundance is already alive within you. It may not yet appear in the bank statement, but it exists in the unseen. If you have declared, "I am loved," then love is already moving toward you. It may not yet knock on your door, but it exists in the unseen. If you persist, the unseen will take form. That is not a possibility. That is a law. And let us be honest, persistence is the hardest part. We live in a world of instant gratification. We want results by tomorrow. We want signs, proof, and evidence now. But manifestation is not a vending machine. It is a transformation of being, and transformation unfolds in its season. The seed grows, the child matures, the day dawns. You cannot rush the rhythm of life, but you can trust it. So when impatience whispers, remember, the unseen is not empty. It is pregnant with your desire. Your role is not to force, but to persist, to remain faithful to the end you have chosen. That is why persistence is called the pearl of great price. Now let us explore another truth. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. This is why simply wishing for change rarely works. You may want abundance, yet if you continue to identify as one who lacks, the world mirrors lack. You may want love, yet if you continue to identify as unworthy, the world mirrors rejection. You may want peace, yet if you continue to identify as anxious, the world mirrors chaos. The outer follows the inner, always. This is why desire must lead to identity. Ask yourself, if I already had this desire fulfilled, who would I be? How would I think, speak, and act? What would I know to be true about myself? And then clothe yourself in that being here and now. It is not enough to say, I want wealth. You must say, I am wealthy. It is not enough to say, I want love. You must say, I am love. It is not enough to say, I want peace. You must say, I am peace. In that identity, desire ceases to be something far away. It becomes the expression of who you already are. Do you see the difference? Desire without identity is distance. Desire with identity is fulfillment. One keeps you chasing, the other brings you home. Let me share a story. A woman once came to a teacher and said, I have affirmed for months that I will be prosperous, but nothing has changed. Why is this not working? The teacher smiled and asked, who are you in your heart? She replied, I am someone who struggles with money. And there was the answer. She had been affirming with her lips, but denying with her being. Words without identity are empty. The moment she chose to see herself as prosperity itself, her life began to shift. That is why it is said, let the weak say, I am strong. Notice the instruction. Not, let the weak hope to be strong. Not, let the weak affirm one day, I might be strong. But I am strong. Identity first, circumstances second. This brings us to one of the greatest barriers, doubt. Doubt whispers, what if it doesn't work? What if I am fooling myself? What if this is all imagination? But imagination is not illusion. Imagination is creation. The entire world you see began in imagination. Every building, every invention, every work of art, every act of progress. Even your body began in the imagination of the source. To dismiss imagination as unreal is to dismiss the foundation of reality itself. So when doubt comes, gently remind yourself, imagination is not fantasy. Imagination is the womb of creation, and I am its steward. Another barrier is comparison. You may say, but others have what I desire, and I do not. This too is an illusion. For in truth, there are no others. The world is a mirror of your own state. To envy another is to deny yourself. To bless another is to affirm your own abundance. When you see someone living in love, say to yourself, that is the reflection of love alive in me. When you see someone walking in wealth, say, that is the reflection of abundance alive in me. This shifts comparison into confirmation. And so the practice becomes simple. Persist in the end. When the old self rises, gently return to the new. When circumstances contradict, gently return to the new. When doubt whispers, gently return to the new. Again and again, until the new state becomes natural. This is the art of rebirth. Do not underestimate the power of this. Entire lives change through identity alone. Relationships heal. Finances transform. Health restores. Dreams unfold. Not because you begged hard enough, but because you remembered who you are. At the summit of the pyramid is not effort, but ease. Not striving, but surrender. Not hoping, but knowing. And when you reach that summit, you realize something even greater. The journey was never about getting something. It was about remembering yourself. For every desire is a mirror calling you back to your own nature. The desire for love points to the truth that you are love. The desire for abundance points to the truth that you are abundance. The desire for peace points to the truth that you are peace. The outer was never the goal. The inner was always the revelation. So what is the final secret? It is this: the end you seek is not outside of you. It is within. You already are what you desire. You are the seed, the sculptor, the king, the source. You are consciousness itself. And consciousness is limitless. Therefore, live now as the one you have chosen to be. Let your words flow from that being. Let your actions flow from that being. Let your thoughts flow from that being. And watch as the world, like a faithful servant, bends to mirror your decree. This is the essence of living in the end. Not chasing, not begging, not striving, but knowing. And so I leave you with this question: who will you choose to be today?